As I said in my GTX 980 Ti video, when I see something online on the cheap, I tend to want to buy it just so I can show all of you, especially when it's selling for a much higher price, and at some point you can get it for a much cheaper price. Right now, that being the case for this Blu Vivo Air LTE. Now, I'm sure you've seen reviews of this phone on YouTube already. Unbox Therapy covered this phone very well, and so did Android Authority. But what I wanted to do was kind of just give a fresh take, a fresh, I guess, opinion, if you will, on this phone, because you can get this for much cheaper than I believe either of those channels purchased the phone for back when it was first released. I purchased this one for about 140 bucks on Amazon, brand new. It was also Amazon fulfilled, so I got it in 2 days. So in essence, this video is going to revolve around my first impressions of holding one of the world's thinnest LTE phones, the Blu Vivo Air LTE. Like I said, I purchased this with my own money. No one else has given me this phone to review for any reason. I just have a very strong curiosity for technology like this. And so here we go. Whoa. If that's literally, oh. There's no way this is the whole phone. Are you kidding? Folks, can you see how, I mean, I know you, okay. Here's an S4, it's a pretty thin phone. That is half as thick as the S4. Are you, here, I'm just 1 second. I cannot believe this phone is this thin. This does not feel like the whole phone at all. It feels like the battery's not inserted. You know, when you get some phones like this one, when I purchased it, the battery wasn't in the phone, and the phone feels super light, and you're like, oh, it's because the battery's not in there. That's not the case here. This is a glass back and glass front. You can't remove the battery. It's built into the phone. It's in there somehow. Mako, would you stop doing whatever you're doing down there? Ugh. Mako wants to check it out, folks. I don't know if you know this, but I have two dogs. One of them is this one, Mako. He's smaller than Misty, who was in the last video. If you watched that one, I'll put it in the card right here. This little man is a little more rambunctious, and he makes a lot more noise when I film. It's like he knows I'm filming, and he just decides to make a bunch of noise when that happens. Thank you. I went outside with the little guy and filmed in 1080p with the Vivo Air. The phone packs an 8 megapixel camera from Sony as well as 1080p 30fps capabilities. Quality was actually better than I expected. Contrast is spot on, it does fairly well in low light and shadows, and takes decent stills. Decent, of course, for a sub $150 phone. The 5 megapixel front facing camera is a nice touch as well. The processor in here is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 410 quad core running at 1.2 GHz. With respect to something like a Galaxy S4, which you can pick up used for about the same price, we're looking at roughly 2/3 the performance according to Geekbench, although keep in mind that both phones come equipped with the same 2 GB of VRAM, a nice feature of the Vivo Air. The UI is super smooth, essentially stock Android 5.0.2 out of the box. I love the fluidity. The bare bones interface actually makes it run smoother than my S4 with its troublesome TouchWiz UI. You either love it or hate it. The 720p screen isn't 100% crisp like the S4's, but it's a drawback I'm willing to compromise on for the sake of an ultra low price and super thin frame. All in all, build quality is on point. The glass on both the front and back, as well as the aluminum bezel, give the Vivo Air a premium iPhone-like feeling in the hand. It's about the same size as an iPhone 6 as well, but rather with a 4.8-inch screen instead of a 4.7-inch one. Screen resolutions are almost identical as well, believe it or not. It just may not appear that way because one is an IPS display and the other is a Super AMOLED. To super simplify things, the Vivo Air has super saturated colors and relatively infinite contrast because individual pixels can turn themselves off all the way, whereas with an LCD panel, your colors are going to look more natural and more realistic, but you won't get those true blacks that you get with Super AMOLED displays because an LCD cannot turn off individual pixels. Nonetheless, the Vivo Air does have an impressive screen even when compared side by side to the Galaxy S4, which has a much warmer Super AMOLED screen I've noticed. I do prefer the cooler tones of the Vivo Air. So the specifications are of course out of date, but for a $140 phone, and for what current version of Android this phone is running, 5.0.2, I don't think you're going to notice any severe lag. I haven't thus far. I know you just saw me unboxing it, but it's been about 3 or 4 hours since I ended that clip and cut right to this one. So I've been playing around with it for a while. I went outside, filmed a lot, took some pictures. Very impressed with the phone so far. Battery life seems to be okay. It's nothing stellar. Right now I have about 58 minutes of screen on time, and currently my battery is at 36%. That's not too bad. Keep in mind this is a Super AMOLED display, only 720p, not 1080p or 1440p. But from a distance, you can't see anything. If you're interested about screen resolutions and viewing distances, you can check out the video above me. For the most part, you're not going to notice any pixels unless you get really, really close to it, which that would just cause a headache in itself right there. But with that, folks, I present to you the Blu Vivo Air LTE. Is it a yes for me? Yes, folks, it is. I am very impressed with this phone. I might actually switch from my current carrier to T-Mobile just so that I can say that I'm using one of the thinnest phones around. It's very snappy. I haven't noticed any lag yet. The camera is great. The screen is great. For 140 bucks, it's hard to say no to that. Be sure to check them out. I have the link to this phone in the video description. Again, no one's paid me or sent me anything to do this review in particular. I purchased this phone with my own money because I was just curious about it, and I'm glad I did, because I mean, look, even with the case on, it's thinner than an iPhone 5S by a significant margin. That is impressive in itself. If you liked what you saw in this video, you liked the sheer curiosity I have for products like these, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down if you feel the complete opposite, or if you hate everything about life, click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Stay tuned for this thing, of course, that I've teased about multiple times. I know, bear with me, folks. And also coming very, very soon, in fact, even sooner than this, a GTX 1070 review. We're going to be pitting that thing head-to-head with this GTX 980 Ti behind me. Which one is the better buy currently? I already said that that's a good deal for 420 bucks. Let's find out if the 1070 is all that it stacks up to be. This is Science Studio. Thanks for learning with us.